Everybody, we are back. It is Santo Live's favorite podcast, favorite channel, favorite everything. We are back. You guys already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit dislike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. Also follow us on Twitter at the Mark John NFL for me, at mholden95 for Matt, and of course pandasubs.com, discount code TDL for 35% off. I got my Panda Subs on right now, so go ahead and promote that, guys. Check out Panda Subs. And we're talking the preseason game. It's not over yet, so we might get a Carter Bradley game time drive that send it to overtime. So we're not sure yet because we're down 8. So whatever he does is going to give us more overtime here. But maybe. You never know. But it was an interesting game to watch. The starters play a lot. So,
yeah,
I mean,
go ahead.
I was
going to say, especially on defense, like they switched out the D line, but like I noticed that too. Like Spillane, like all the linebackers were out there, and like almost all the starting DBs, and Bennett even was taking snaps in the second half. That was surprising me.
Yeah. So, I mean, most people want to talk about the quarterbacks that was happening in this game, the quarterback competition with Gardner Minshew getting the start in AOC. I see people already freaking out. 6'11" back on the table. I'm not gonna try preseason because. We got some good game planners over here. I think Patrick Graham is a game planner, so I'm like, you know what I mean? Like that's the thing. Like I'm not gonna worry about. We'll see what these guys do with game plans, and I'll freak out like week 3. That's when I start freaking out, like an 0-2 start or something like that, or 0-3 start. I'll freak out then. But it's still preseason for me, so I'm not gonna totally freak out about anything like this. But not the greatest performance from the quarterbacks. Minshew went out there first, and didn't let's say light the world on fire, and then O'Connell looked okay, and then he threw a pick 6 to end his game. So Matt, what are some of your thoughts on the quarterbacks competition? What do you think? How do you think this is gonna go?
So I already let her know that I was going to give her a shout out, but I had to give my wife a little shout out to start things off. She watches a lot of football, so she knows what she's talking about. But she obviously, like I said before, she's a Cowboys fan, so she doesn't know too much about Gardner Minshew's game. But she goes to me, she says to me in the first half, she's like, "Why does he keep throwing without his feet set?" And I just started laughing, like, that's just who he is. He leaves clean pockets, and he does shit that you just don't understand why, and he does like all the stuff that I felt like he did, like him bailing in clean pockets, him throwing without his feet set, and all that stuff that like we worried about. We saw tonight, and we saw it rear its head. And I mean, he did have the one nice throw to Trey Tucker, but even that like was underthrown. He almost got was it Jacoby Myers killed on the dig route where Rich Gannon then pointed out, well, he had the post open for a touchdown. And I'm like, yeah, Rich, but I don't think you can get it down that far. And then again, floats one to Myers that lets the safety into the play. Like that easily could have been a completion with any sort of zip on it. And I mean, then was missing easy throws. Like got lucky on at least 2 interceptions. He should have had a pick 6 too. I think what it was at that first drive was basically the same thing that O'Connell did.
Yeah,
like the linebacker, whatever, jumped the route. The linebacker just didn't catch it.
He
just got bailed out.
Guys, the O'Connell guys caught it. Minshew did. So they're like, "Oh, pick 6, let's go Minshew." You know what I mean? But like, Minshew almost threw a pick 6 like the first drive.
Yeah, exactly. But
you know what I mean?
But yeah. So I guess where I'm going there is, I thought this was pretty awful from Gardner Minshew. Like if we're being real, like this was his opportunity to start, and it's like, and it was I don't know if I say as bad as can be, or if I'm just being dramatic and living in the moment, but it feels like it was as bad as can be. And O'Connell, I thought it was more the same than last week. Like it was efficient. Like he had a couple nice throws over the middle. Like that first when he came out, I got excited a little bit when he his first throw of the game where he like fitted in that tight window and to Wilkerson.
Yeah.
And then he had another one over the middle too that I thought was well. But the problem is like he had the efficient day. Like that's how he is, right? Like that, just the chunk by chunk by chunk, the little gains. But the problem is you can't have them the pick 6 on top of it too. Like that makes it like that almost like ruins your night, especially when you're not like this dynamic quarterback that can bomb it down the field. Like when you have that one big mistake, like that can wipe away every good thing you did, and it makes it frustrating. I think you put it well on Twitter. Like next week, like I don't know if you can name a guy after this one, but I think if we have to, it's got to be O'Connell based on the 2 games ago.
Yeah, because I'll look at it this way, and if you got to go with the whole camp and then both weeks of these games, I mean, Minshew played with the ones and O'Connell played with the ones. And when O'Connell was out there with the first team offensive line, he did look better than Minshew did, right? He looked first team last week. They went right down the field. Of course, they got a field goal, but he did look better right there. And O'Connell. See, the thing is with Aiden O'Connell is like, and why I didn't like him coming out of Purdue is because it's literally like 5 good throws, and then there just might be one throw. You know what I mean? That one stupid throw that he makes, and and he's very streaky. So like there might be like 2 great games in a row, and then there just be the worst quarterback game you ever watch, and that's Aiden O'Connell, right? And that it's basically how he was in college, because like you watch some games at Purdue in college, you're like, wow, maybe this guy has something, and then you watch like the game in Illinois, you're like, no, I don't want to draft him. So like that's literally him. And I think we saw that throughout this game. Like you saw him be consistent, right? And he was consistent. He was completing every pass, and then it just took one dumb pass, and it was just pick 6, right? And but I still feel like if you go by both weeks, like if you go by the totality of this, they're gonna go with AOC just because he's safer for how they want to play. Because to be honest, did they run the ball this whole preseason?
No, they did. They barely did. And when they did in the first half, I felt like they actually moving the ball pretty well. Like Zamir had a nice run. I think Madison had a nice run too. Yeah, I will give both quarterbacks that. Like there was literally 0 running game to speak of. Like, and it wasn't that the O line was playing that poorly in the run blocking. It was just that they did not run the ball.
They like refused to run the ball this whole preseason. Like, I mean, because Minshew threw 21 passes. It's like, God damn.
And O'Connell threw like 20, right? I think Minshew was 10 of 21, and O'Connell was 14 of 20. And they didn't even O'Connell, did he play in the beginning of the fourth quarter? I don't know. Like,
you know what I mean?
They threw the ball like 60 times tonight.
That's what I mean. That's why I'm like, I see people like freaking out about how the season's gonna go, because they're gonna run the ball, and from what we saw from the running the ball, they've been actually pretty good at that. They just haven't done it the whole preseason. Like, I don't know what Zamir White's stats are, but he had like a 17-yard run, and they're like, "Good job, Zamir. You're not running no more." So that's why, like, we freak out about the quarterbacks and how this offense is gonna look, because Aiden O'Connell, he's still through play action. I think he hasn't missed a play action pass yet. So if they can run the ball, and do play action, there's a way to win, right? And the pick 6 can stick out to people. I mean, the people are gonna freak out about the pick 6. It's gonna be all over. He sucks, pick 6, because it's just how it looks, right? But it's more about the totality of this, and they just didn't run the ball. Let's say people like, what free agent, like, there's nothing, guys. This is what we got, man. You guys got to get used to it. It is what it is. It's not Tannehill time. No, it is not Tannehill. It's not going to look much better right now. I'm just telling you guys, like, you just have to look at this from the perspective that they threw the ball 40 times in 2 quarters.
I got the numbers right here. So they ran 65 plays. Okay, they got the ball now, but I imagine they're going to throw even more. So it's probably going to get worse. So there's 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. For reference here, 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. It looks like the Raiders just got the ball back. They've run 65 plays, 49 passing attempts.
See, that's not going to happen.
16 rushing attempts.
So that's why, like, I want people just to not freak out. Okay, let's not freak out, because Zamir White is going to have 20 carries a game. Go ahead.
To put it in perspective, the Cowboys ran 55 plays, and they have 13 more rushing attempts than the Raiders do today. They just didn't run the ball.
They didn't run the ball. We're like, let's do a quarterback. This is like a pure quarterback competition. You guys are going to come out and you're going to throw, which I kind of like. We're not gonna run today. You guys are going to throw, right? Yeah. So that's why I believe, like, it's not going to be how it is and how we're watching it right now. And I think they're trying to go with the guy who's more steady, who's getting people in the right positions, and I think when you look at it from who played well with the first team offensive line and who played better with the first team offensive line, it has to go AOC. So I think they're going to pick AOC just by like default, in my opinion. But I think how this offense looks, I think we should all take a step back, because we're like, Zamir White's going to get 18 to 20 carries a game. We got to start there, right? Like he's going to get 18 to 20 carries a game, and that's not happening right now.
Yeah.
And then if you get play action with ALC, who's actually looked good in play action in preseason, I don't think he's, like I said, he hasn't incompleted a pass yet. That's how this offense is going to look. So you have to think like, okay, these guys are going to run the ball 80 times. Like we're going to be like a 53% run the ball team. I feel like that's what we're looking at. Really old school. Being 51% running the ball is crazy in today's NFL, but I feel like that's what we're going at this point because they haven't really even shown the run game. To be honest, it's crazy, but I don't know. What's your thoughts, man? I'm gonna look at some.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think the ideal offense for the Raiders is like you said, like Zamir White gets like 15 to 20 carries a game, and then Madison gets like another 5 to 10. Maybe even Abdullah gets a couple in there too. So I think you're right. Like if they're gonna run the hell out of the ball, it's just they want to see who can play quarterback right now and who can make the throws. And they basically tried to force it. Like you're not hiding anywhere.
He's asking if we try to. I'm not trying to convince ourselves. I'm just saying that is crazy. So if they come out and throw the ball 20 times, I'm telling you that they're not going to win that way. So if that's what their plan, then you can freak out. But I'm like, okay, Zamir White actually looks pretty damn good. He's looked pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Right. So they're going to run the ball. I don't know how that's going to look. I mean, Brock Bowers is going to run the ball. You know what I mean? We haven't even seen the Brock Bowers carries. He's getting carries, right? Madison's going to get carries. Zamir White's going to get carries. So I don't think this is how the offense is really going to look because they are just them passing. They've been passing so much. Both of those guys having 20 attempts right now is nuts. That's maybe I'm hope you could say I'm not trying to convince myself. Maybe I'm hoping you could be right there. Go ahead.
I will say this. The quarterback play needs to get better. I'm not trying to excuse that. I don't think either one of us are. I think we're just saying, like, this isn't quite what the offense is going to look like in the season. Like, don't get me wrong. Yes, there might be a little bit of, like, we got to convince ourselves that Aiden O'Connell is going to be the guy there. Because, again, I don't think he was anything spectacular tonight. But at the same time, like, I think what we're trying to say is it could get better than this. It should get better than this when they actually run the offense, which as it's designed to or as they plan to.
Yeah,
that's the missing link.
Yeah. That's my point. I'm not trying to say that Aiden O'Connell is going to like light the world on fire. I'm just saying that Zamir White, if you're haven't drafted your fantasy draft yet,
he's getting touches.
Go ahead, draft Zamir White. Go ahead and do that. Don't let Zamir White get past the third round for yourself because Zamir White's getting the damn football. That's all I'm saying. So that's what I really learned this week because 40 passes between these two guys is nuts. That is just, I mean, yeah, it was just crazy. But anyways, so we talked about that for the most part. I mean, because my thing is that Zamir White and the run game actually did look pretty good. Madison even looked pretty decent running the football. I mean, the O-line looked like they were doing a pretty good job. They were out there for a while. I saw a lot of Glaze. Definitely checked them out on the back end.
Played a lot.
Yeah, Parham played a lot too. So we'll check them out on the back end on the all-22. But I guess we can switch defense now. But go ahead, Matt. What were you say?
I was going to say I saw Andre James had like a nice little block on like a power concept, pulled out like out from center, and had a nice block on the second level to spring. I think it was Zamir White. I can't remember who the running back was, but I was excited to see him. Like I don't know if I've gotten that excited about an Andre James run block in a while, and good to see. And I think, like you said, like it did seem like they were getting pushed up front. I will say Andres Pete though, getting beat by a couple rookies in back-to-back weeks. This week it was Marshawn Nealon.
Yeah,
I was sitting there watching. I'm like, man, Colton Miller can't come back fast enough. Like if he's injured, I don't know what they're going to do at left tackle because Pete does not look good at all.
No,
and he missed somebody on the. I think. It was Nealon again. I think it was on the screen to. It's on the screen to Mayer. Maybe he like missed Nealon or one of the DNs in space, and that led to them getting like no yards on it. So it's been a rough couple preseason games for Andres Pete.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if they can't go Miller, you got to go Glaze and Munford.
Yeah,
to me, in my opinion,
probably. I think those two are ahead of him right now, and I didn't notice Glaze or anything, which probably is a good sign. But
Yeah, it's a good thing actually, kind of at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we're noticing Pete. You know what I mean? You know,
Yeah, exactly. That's Pete's standing out, and not in the right way. He's looking.
not at all. Not
What are
at
you squinting
all.
at over there?
Carter Bradley, it just missed a fourth down throw, so the game's really over now. 27-12. So we could really talk about that. Probably get some more people in here. But let's get some questions and we'll get the defense real quick. So trying to convince yourselves, already answered that one. Well, the O-line able to provide a great running game? I mean, we don't that's the funny part right now. It's like they didn't run the ball at all this whole like even last week when Aiden O'Connell played, they ran the ball like 3 or 4 times during his drive. He had 9 passes. He did one drive. He had 9 passes. They ran the ball like 3 or 4 times, and then because even Zamir White on his first run inside the 7, he got 4 yards. I'm like, if they just would have gave him the ball again, they might have scored a touchdown, right? But they're trying to see what these quarterbacks can do. And like that's how the competition went, is that you got both you guys would come out, you're gonna throw the damn ball. That's how I feel like training camp a little bit too. I feel like training camp they didn't run the ball that much either. But we'll see how the running game goes. But man, I think that's gonna be a focus that we're not really seeing right now. Yeah.
I think JPJ being back will help out too with the running game specifically. I mean, ideally, again, he's a rookie that's making the switch to the NFL, but I think he'll, at least projection wise, he'd help out with the running game over Cody Whitehair.
Yeah, for sure. You think Adam refused to play because Minshew and he's hospital?
Marcus actually texted me that mid game, and you know what? I'm not going to deny it, especially after watching receiver and seeing that play. He probably saw that play and turned to AP and be like, "Yeah, that's why." That's why I have whatever the ankle, my ankle got sore or whatever yesterday on Friday's practice or Thursday's practice or whatever, and I couldn't play.
Yeah. Is it weird that they didn't play Bowers? I thought that was a little weird.
Is he banged up or is he just?
I don't know. Maybe they felt the same way. I don't know. How did Madison look? Yeah, I thought Madison looked all right. I thought he looked all right. He was on kickoff, which I thought was weird.
Yeah. Oh, he is? Like kick return?
Yeah, he did the first. I did the first one or the.
Dude, I missed that.
That was weird. I was like, okay.
He had one run that like really stood out to me where like he just got north south and like looked like he was like shot out of a cannon. But he had a solid day.
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably got like 5 carries. If that.
Yeah. So a lot of people are talking about the run defense. What are some of your thoughts on the run defense? Because I thought last week, Byron Young and those guys are not good. But I thought last week the first team looked good against the run. And I think we're more complaining about like Byron Young at this point.
Yeah.
Because, you know what I mean? Like it's not too crazy for the first team. It's just when Byron Young gets out there, you just start running the football. So I don't know if that's like a run defense thing or if is that a depth thing. What do you think?
I think it's a depth issue. I mean, that is like my worry about like their defensive line right now is like Adam Butler. Like they're trying to make him. It seems like the backup defensive tackle, maybe because nobody else is. Although someone has to make another nice play against the run today too. And that's just not his game. Like he's not who he's ever been. He's not like ever been great against the run. And Byron Young, like I think I texted you again. Like I noticed it today without even having watched the all-22. He got put on his in the ground again from another tight end on a combo block, and it's like the same issues. So I kind of get the feeling that it's a little bit more of like a depth problem. Like Luke Masterson, I think again it looked like he had another rough day against the run too, and more of a special teamer, converted safety guy is more of a coverage linebacker. So I think it's more of a depth issue at this stage in the game, but it's definitely not comforting. That's for sure. Because I mean, like we said, a lot of the first string linebackers were in the game, or at least Spillane was in the game for most of the first half, and it wasn't perfect.
Yeah, but when I watch Spillane, sometimes Spillane doesn't always take on blocks like he should, so that he is kind of worrisome against the run, anyways. and they really didn't try to upgrade that linebacker position. But Tommy Eckenberg's not playing right now either, so who knows if he could be somebody that can come in and help out a little bit in that run game. But yeah, I mean they're going to be fully dependent on the defensive tackles to stop the run, and Crosby and Kuntz, I don't think they're going to be bad against the run, just because I think Kuntz is playing pretty good against the run right now, and they got Max Crosby, because Max Crosby went over there and made some tackle for loss for like 3 yards. So I don't think they're ever going to be like a bad run defense, just because they have Crosby and I think Chris. That's what Wilkins is. Wilkins really hasn't been a great pass rusher his whole career, but he has played the run really well his whole career. I'm not too worried about that. But we'll see. When you have Divine Diablo and Robert Spillane back there, it depends on what season. And Spillane basically had a career year last year.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes with the run defense. See if they can get some growth there.
I will say the one thing about Spillane's career, that he's been pretty consistent on, is playing against the run. But these last 2 preseason games have not been good for him. And then Divine Diablo, surprisingly, even being a converted safety, he's actually better against the run than he is in coverage for whatever reason. So.
Yeah. So other than that, any show out some defense? I mean, really nothing really stood out from defense either. I mean, Jack Jones looks pretty good still.
Yeah,
he's like a playmaker.
Those eyes though, and he got burnt with those bad eyes. I think Rich Gannon was pointing it out on the sluggo route. Mm-hmm. I've called that out on him before too, but I thought Jacory Bennett, that one play that I was encouraging to see, where it looked like they brought they had a cover one blitz on. It looked like. He stayed on top of the receiver, made a nice play. Actually that stood out for the first time in a while is Chris Smith. He had a couple nice plays today. Nice little pass breakup on 3rd down. I think he saw him get in a couple tackles too. So he was one guy that kind of caught my eye. I was like, oh, this guy that we haven't heard much from in training camp and didn't see much of the last year, and starting to show up a little bit more. It's good to see.
Yeah, that's true. And then what? I mean, Trey Tucker probably had the best game on offense. Trey Tucker looked really good. Because even that one ball that he caught, it was pretty underthrown. I thought the guy knocked it down, but he definitely has been working with Devontae Adams. He showed some late hands on that one. So that was a really nice play. I thought he looked really good. Had some good kickoffs. And he had that one he had that one good catch on the sideline too. That was a little bit of underthrown ball, but he's able to go down and get it. So he said he has some Lasix. It looks like it's helping him track the football. I thought he was always good at that, though. Honestly, I thought he's always good at tracking the football in the air. So I think he was getting a lot of knock for dropping passes in camp, but I think he's getting better right there.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got here. So, any reason Parham was out there for so long? No, I think that just because they wanted to get some good reps from these quarterbacks, so they just want to they wanted to have one there.
Yeah, and if you watched the depth of the O line last week, it was pretty rough. So yeah, I think you're right. I think they wanted to make sure. I mean, like we said a lot. There was a lot of guys that were kind of surprisingly playing a lot. I think they're just beat up right now overall and just lacking some depth. So a lot of guys got a lot of playing time.
Yeah.
If he was getting singled out as one of the few guys or one of the only guy to get a bunch of playing time, then I'd be a little more concerned. But again, half the starter, 2/3 of the start defense play the entire first half. You don't see very often.
Yeah, because I do think this team has a little bit of a depth problem. Because even at wide receiver,
after the first 3,
although
DJ Turner had a nice night tonight.
DJ Turner had a nice night. So they have depth at wide receiver, but because that's always been a problem with and I hate to get on top of Telesco, but because he hasn't even really had his first season with the Raiders, but he has a 10-year history.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's always been a little bit of a problem with Tom Telesco is depth.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. And I feel like the Raiders are missing that right now. I feel like the Raiders are missing depth because what's really and I'm trying not to put this energy out here, but this is football. So people are going to get hurt. Somebody's going to get injured, right? And the teams that usually have no players get injured, they go to the Super Bowl. Or they go to not so the Raiders are going to do that, but usually the Niners, they're the most healthy teams in the league, right? And so the problem with me with this team when I watch it and I just check this out is depth. I feel like because are you going to put Decameron Richardson out there? You really going to do that? Are you gonna put Byron Young, like, for real? You're gonna put Byron Young out there? Can you do that right now? I don't think you can. You can't put Byron Young out there. The Chargers gonna run right at him. It's on film. You know what I mean? So like they need depth. And like, like if it's just the starters and these guys just played the whole game, then yeah, I'd feel a whole lot better. But I think the depth is what worries me a little bit about this team at this point.
The deepest position group right now might be the quarterback room. And that's saying something. And that's just because they don't have a starter.
I hate how kind of true that is. Or tight end, man, tight end. They got some
tight
depth
end,
in
yeah.
tight end.
Stand corrected. Okay, so we got tight end and then quarterback. There you go.
You know,
but is tight end that deep if you run if you have two starting tight ends? I guess Harrison Bryant's a good tight end. A good third string tight end.
You need Cole Fotheringham, man. You go to Fotheringham. I mean, it's not bad.
Yeah, there you go.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's what's bothering me when I observe this team from like a depth standpoint. That's when I get a little worried. Like, you know, what happens if things don't go perfectly? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm worried about right now. But more than anything, because I mean, the quarterback position, I think people are gonna freak out. There's gonna be a whole bunch of freak out. I see somebody talking about like some other shows on YouTube that are already freaking out because the quarterback threw a pick six. I'm not freaking out because I know football, and this team is gonna run the ball and do play action. So I'll freak out week 3. That's what I'm waiting. I need 3 weeks in the regular season before I start freaking out. Because if they come out thinking they're going to be Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball 20 times in 2 quarters, we're definitely losing. So I'm not. You know what I mean? Like I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ignore that because that's what they did this preseason. They came out and threw the ball. Like Minshew literally threw the ball 21 times. I don't think Gardner Minshew's thrown the ball 21 times in the first half in his whole career. I 100% doubt that. His whole career. I want to go look that up. I don't think he has.
Yeah, that'd be. Wouldn't surprise me if that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I just don't see it. See. I mean, you can't say this about every team, but I think it's a little different with a lot of teams.
There's other teams that have a lot. Look at the Eagles depth chart, and they have a lot more depth. There are a lot of teams with a lot more depth. Yeah,
like because depth to me is like falling off to a veteran. Like even I'm trying to think of some teams here, like the Texans. I mean, they fall off to Lonnie Johnson Jr. You know what I mean? Like it's not falling off to MJ Devonshire, the 7th round pick. He comes right to the game. You know what I mean? Like that's like it's different. Like even going from like if Robert Spillane to Tommy Eichenberg is asking a lot of Tommy Eichenberg.
Yeah. I mean,
you know
put it in another perspective too, since we're talking about D tackles. Like look at what like the Seahawks have at D tackle right now. They got like Byron Murphy right now, their first round pick is technically a second stringer. I think you probably end up beating out Jaron Reed, but like they've got like a good defensive line where like something like a position where injuries happen a lot because you take a lot of pounding. Like they have guys that you feel comfortable with going in, like moving forward if one of those guys gets hurt. Right now, if Christian Wilkins get hurt and Byron Young is the second option, like I might cry.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I mean by depth. Like, yeah, if because even last year, if you think about it last year, I mean Adam Butler was more of a depth player, but I feel like right now he's more of a starter than a depth player unless they move Wilson inside. And that's what I'm saying. We don't know how they're going to game plan for teams. And that's when it's going to come into this team having some good coaching, because that's what they're going to need. They're going to need some good coaching, but they're going to have to stay healthy at this point. That's my worry, especially at corner, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, because they're even moved Devonshire inside, and I don't know how much that worked, and we'll check out the film, but those guys played so late, we didn't get to see too much of the young guys. Like somebody asked about Trey Taylor. And I said,
I looked at the set. He didn't even have a stat. I was like Bill asked me to watch him, and I couldn't tell you a play he made. I don't think like I said, I looked at the stat sheet and didn't see his name on there at all. So I would be surprised if he didn't get a single rep. And I think Smith might be outplaying him right now. Like last week, Trey Taylor was caught at a position. I think one of those touchdowns was on him. Looked like he was took the eye candy a little bit on a play action, came too far downhill, and then like I said, Smith had a pretty good night. And of those two guys, like I think you can trust Smith a little bit more because he'll be where he should be. Whereas Trey Taylor might make the big plays every now and again, but he's also gonna cost you a few, cost you one every now and again too. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Then people talk about Tyree Wilson. Somebody's calling him Farrell 2.0. He's not really showing too much right now, but
Yeah, I unfortunately I've kind of come around to that. I kind of feel like he's on that similar path because it was another night tonight where he just really kind of blended in, didn't do much.
yeah. Did Trey Taylor get hurt last week? I don't think so, right? I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah,
That's,
yeah,
that's the thing I hate about the preseason. It's like we never know who the hell is playing. It's not.
yeah. You know what I mean? Like the preseason is crazy. You know what I mean? And it's tomfoolery too. That's the thing. Like, I see some people are getting emotional over it. Like, there's no reason to get emotional over preseason because Kenny Pickett didn't incompleted one pass last year in the preseason. And I think about that a lot.
Say it again. He only had one completion.
Yeah, he had one incompletion last year in the preseason.
Right. Yeah.
There was buzz. People thought the Steelers were going to take the next step on offense, and they went out there week one and played the Niners. You couldn't complete a pass. You know what I mean? So it's weird. Preseason is always weird. In it, I still think AOC won this job just because he played better last week with the ones, and he was able to score a touchdown with the twos this week as well. So I still think that he's going to win this job. But I also believe that they didn't run the ball at all. And I think that's the biggest key to all of this is that there is no running the ball and they refuse to do it. So I feel like if they can run the football and do play action, I think they'll be okay on offense. And that's the thing. I think on defense, Patrick Graham is a great game planner and they're going to be able to do better game plans than what we're seeing. So I think that with preseason, that's why you kind of just got to let it go. But yeah, because I'll say this over time. If I see Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew throw the ball 20 times in one half, I think we got a problem.
Something's wrong. Something got out of hand quickly.
We got a problem.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to be let go from the play caller. This I don't know what you're watching, but we need at least 50-50 with some play action. I mean, you know what I mean?
And that's what AP wants too. Like he doesn't make a secret about it. He wants to play old school football. He wants to play ground and pound football. He wants to run the hell out of the ball. So
yeah, we didn't see that at all. And I don't know. It was literally like we were trying. It was literally like a quarterback trial, which is fine. And that's what we want to do. Yeah, I mean, there will be games that they'll be forced to throw the ball, and I understand that. But we don't want. They want to. Come on, guys. They want to avoid that. Let's keep it real. They want to.
They're not going to start that way. They're not going to start.
Yeah. You know what I mean, right? If we're keeping it real, they don't want to be in that position.
Yeah, they want to play from ahead and bleed the clock. They want. If you're playing NCAA, they put 2 clock on in the second that starts the second half. That's the ideal way people want to play the game.
Yeah, we want to have Zamir White, bro. Get him in fantasy. That's what we all should learn from the preseason. Is that Zamir White needs to be on our fantasy teams. So if you're playing fantasy, do not sleep on your boy Zamir. He's going to get that ball, and he's going to get it a lot. And that's what I learned. I'm not going to freak out or worry about wins or losses or how the team look, because some teams look terrible in preseason and they look really good now in the season, and some teams look really good in the preseason and they look awful in the season. It's just preseason is just so damn weird, So
yeah,
you know what I mean. I don't know. What are your thoughts, man? I feel like I'm talking too much.
Oh no, you're good. I mean, I don't know what else to say other than I really do think you I understand the thought process of they are going to have to throw the ball, Like, don't get me wrong. I just think they're not going to want to start out the game like that. Like, that's
Yeah.
not how they're going to, like, it's, even if they get in a 7-0 hole to say start the first quarter, they're still going to run the ball. Probably when they're down 14-0 in the first half, they're still going to try and run the ball. They are going to operate the opposite of what we've seen, operate offensively the opposite of what we've seen in the last 2 weeks. Like, this is not how they want to do it. This was 100%. We've got to figure out which quarterback can play. And I don't know if we have the answer yet. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Well, because just with AOC, I just know there's like a way to win. Like if you just don't let him, with the play action on the ball. I mean, I could feel comfortable with that. But let's as this last question, get out of here. What corner y'all think they should pick up before the season starts? I say anybody at this point, to be honest.
Anybody? I mean, the guy I've been pounding the table for a while now that you broke down earlier, Stephon Gilmore is still out there. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't want to play for the Raiders. Maybe he wants to play for a team that maybe has a little bit more Super Bowl aspirations than Raiders do. But I think he would be a good option. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not huge on the guy, but Adoree Jackson played for Graham before. I think maybe only a year, maybe two. But can play inside and outside. He'd be more of like your veteran insurance, what you're talking about, right? Like before with like the depth issue, where like, okay, someone goes down, he can be like your Meek Robertson type of guy, where he can kind of fill in at either spot, gives you that flexibility, and doesn't make you doesn't force you to play Devonshire or Richardson. But you get a guy like Gilmore, all of a sudden maybe Ja'Cory Bennett's not starting or anything like that. But again, Ja'Cory Bennett seems to be playing pretty well. I mean, last 2 games have been pretty good for him. So
Yeah,
I don't know if you necessarily want to make that up. So maybe Jackson makes the most sense, but that's one guy I would keep those are the 2 guys I keep an eye on at this stage.
Yeah. All right, guys. We get out of here. AP's doing his press conference. I guess he said that they have seen enough to make a choice of QB. We'll see what they choose. But the season's we're very close to the season, and we're gonna see how this looks once the season starts. We get some game planning. We get a little bit, a little bit of a mixture. But next week we're gonna see a lot of Carter Bradley. So I'm looking.
Carter Bradley and my boy, not wearing 3 anymore, but yeah, the boy.
Your boy's back. Your boy's back.
Boy's back in town, baby. Had to rock the jersey. I was hoping he'd play a little bit tonight. That's because I figured I'm only going to get like 2 chances to wear the jerseys where he actually plays. So I'll be wearing it again next week. But hopefully we'll see some action.
It's a good stream, though, guys. Got 800 in here, 800 viewers. So I really appreciate that, guys. You guys joining us and checking us out. And we're out of here. So I hope you guys subscribe. Like I said, join the memberships. We got like I said, I'll be doing some breakdowns of the quarterbacks. I got a lot of throws this week, obviously. Goddamn, it's fine. But you know what I mean. But I'm gonna do that for you guys. We're gonna get that going tomorrow. Hope you guys enjoyed this. We're out of here. Peace.